Game one's going to be Hidden Forts, but once again, people who are here, I want to say thanks again for being here. Reminder: this is the first day of quarterfinals. Both these players already won. They've earned themselves $800 minimum just for getting to this stage. But the goal for these guys, especially with how dominant they were in the first round, is to move on and win the whole thing. If we could just pull up the bracket one more time before we finally get this series started, just to talk through when all these games are happening. We've got Vasco da Gama and Sumanguru now. Otto the Great and Gajimata will come later today. And then we'll have King Stephen against Khosrau and Jan Žižka against Alexios Komnenos. Tell your friends, tell your cousins, tell your family, tell your neighbor 5 houses down. Just go knock on the door. Be like, hey, you watching Hidden Cup? Oh, you're not? Well, have I told you about Twitch Prime? No. Listen, just let people know if you feel like they'll have interest. I hope the show will be able to keep people here towards the semis and then the final, which will be this weekend. But with that said, let's hop into game number one between Vasco da Gama and Sumanguru. I am very, very curious, Margugu, on how this is going to go. Game number one, quarterfinal number one in Hidden Cup 5. We have two players who won 4-1 on the first day. And we've got Sumanguru in the red playing as the Vietnamese up against the Burmese and Vasco da Gama. And with me is the French pro, Margugu. Welcome, Margugu.
Welcome, welcome. Thank you for having me here. And yeah, French pro, I like how you call me. I like this title actually. Because for many people, I could maybe be something like a semi-pro, semi-caster too. So being me a pro, I like it. I like you a lot, T90. You are a good friend.
Well, thank you, thank you. Well, if I call you a semi-pro, then I'm a low legend. So I honestly,
Oh,
it's not even out of my respect for you. It's really for my own ego here, Margugu.
okay.
But we speculated a little bit on the Burmese pick, and as these players are going to encounter each other here, Vasco da Gama goes Burmese game number one. So a civ that a lot of other pros don't pick that frequently. And this is
Yeah,
the first time Burmese have been played in the main event and the qualifier. Crazy stuff.
that's surprising. But actually, this map was not in the qualifier. So maybe that's why. But I think
Yeah.
actually, if Vasco managed to, because what's the trend? What are the strengths of Burmese actually? It's like good cavalry, good monks, I would say. Some crazy iron buy too. So maybe he's
Mm-hmm.
going towards this type of thing, this type of monk rush on the middle. Maybe it could be. Maybe he wants to play the middle, the control map, and go like super aggressive. So yeah, it could be an option. Vietnamese, I think we didn't see Vietnamese too much on this map too. Actually, I
Yeah,
mean
agreed.
Vietnamese is pretty good. He can do kinda everything in the game, a lot of options, but but they don't have good monks actually. So Sumango will need to be careful about that. Do not get snowballed.
Well, when I think about how Sumanguru played the first series, Sumanguru was very macro oriented, which I think fits the Vietnamese. You
Yeah,
have the faster researching and cheaper eco upgrades. Sumanguru is probably the type of player who's going to take low risk, not be aggressive early, and play the more late game. I kind of thought the same of Vasco. Like Vasco da Gama was more aggressive at times, but at the same time, I think what it was for Vasco was actually getting really good value from low numbers of units. And right now, with the way this map works, you kind of have a decision to make. Are you going to take the outer resources or are you going to push towards the middle? And Vasco is slowly chopping through to the middle right now. So this is what has kind of been the fun thing about the map. Remember, this map was never played in the qualifier. This is only a main event map, and the players had a practice period where they could test out strategies. And we're going to see one player go to the middle to take rhinos, and then the other player has even lumber camped the outside and has no interest in cutting through to the middle right now, Margugu.
yeah, that's really interesting. I think matchup wise, that's really interesting because as we said, Burmese should go potentially aggressive because Burmese is not that good versus archer saves. So
Yep.
I think Burmese in late game should struggle a lot. So maybe Vasco is thinking like, okay, I need to go aggressive at one point. So chopping through the middle to get the early bars, but also to get the forward position could be good, could be cool. And I really like that Suman Guru is maybe realizing the same thing actually and is thinking, okay, do I want to fight early versus Burmese or do I prefer to go maybe into the longer game? And Actually, I think if he wants to go for the longer game, maybe not shopping the middle is actually super smart because then it's like a natural wall that you cannot break.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
So
So as we see this Rhino get brought in here, I agree with you. I think it's going to be really difficult. Oof, that was close. It's going to be very difficult for Vasco to be able to break through the middle without chopping through the wood himself. And I was wondering if it would get to this point because there was a game between Emperor Sigismund and Cosrel where we saw a player go hand cannons, and he rushes through to the middle, and the opponent hadn't chopped the trees, and then his hand cannons had to go from the middle to loop the whole way around, and it does become very awkward. So I think, what's fun about this again is Vasco da Gama and Sumanguru, they didn't get to see any of the games in the first round, how their opponent played or anything. So you know how it goes, right? To form an opinion on meta or how strategy works, sometimes you have to see what other people do and then combine that with your own thoughts. They are going solely on their own opinions, solely on their own thinking right now.
Sumango is not chopping through the middle. Khosrow was doing the same, right?
Mm-hmm.
So actually, my theory of Sumango being Tato, Khosrow being Viper, so they are team, they are like practicing maybe together,
Interesting.
practice partner. So maybe
Yeah.
both practice together and we're like actually not chopping through the middle, just going like FC boom should be the
Yep.
best option, and then it could make
That,
sense in my theory.
I wonder if we even have the teams wrong, right? Like you're thinking this could be Tato and then Cosrel could be Viper. What if it's like Cosrel Hera and then
Oh yeah.
Vasco, like Cosrel Hera and then like Gajamata Hera and then Cosrel like, oh man, I'm just running in circles in my brain right now. But you are right
What
that
if
Cosrel chose to the outside approach. Sorry, Margugu.
what if Vasco is Mihai and Comnemos is Sebastian? I
You're
mean,
absolutely right.
you went right away like it's either GL or AM, but you forgot my boys. You
Yeah,
forgot
yeah.
my Fox boys actually. I
It's
think
it's always
they could win.
it's always tricky too because people are like, well, Hera's GL'd out. He is, but I always still feel I don't know the situation there. To my knowledge, my impression is even though he is teamed with Viper, Doubt, and Tata, they still think he does a lot of talking, a lot of preparation with his old teammates. Right, that's my impression. So
Yeah.
when we say this, it's a little confusing. But we're going to have Fast Castle here from Vasco. He's going to drop the market here. Did lose his scout, which is never a great feeling. And it did collect more resources than his opponent, which is nice. Those rhinos have paid off. But a little bit of scout presence for Samanguru. And that means these scouts are going to stop Vasco from being able to move to the outside. And what is on the outside is all the stone. And then also the, well, not just the stone, sorry, but it is also the relics. So you could
Yeah.
take the middle if you're Vasco, but you kind of want to have some stone and have some relics accessible.
I mean, Vasco invested at the end. Vasco invested a lot on the middle to chop through to get these balls in, and so he didn't invest it too much on the outside. While Sumanguru is playing all about the outside, he's like walling the side, going for the outside of the middle control. He's maybe going for a villager snipe. Oh, could be actually
That should be a dead
the first
vill.
kill. Yeah,
Yeah, that's
nice.
definitely a dead villager, and the scouts pay off for Samanguru there. Keep in mind his eco should be looking pretty good when he makes it to the next stage because of all the eco upgrades. Very early wheelbarrow as well. You don't normally see wheelbarrow with 27 vills, but some players will do that now because Vietnamese eco upgrades research faster. So that's an interesting little thing there. But
I
scouts
I
stuck inside now.
I actually think the Vietnamese bonus is nowadays is kind of OP, and let's be honest, I think
Yeah,
like it's
yeah.
really good. And the way Vasco is playing, it looks like an all-in actually because he doesn't have any farm. He has zero farm actually. It's all about the extra food he managed to lure under his TC. And even if it's good for the early boosts, on the long term, he should struggle to set up his farm economy. Like his economy gonna collapse very soon because once those cows, there is no food anymore on them. He will only have berries, and that's it. He won't have
Yeah.
anything else.
I disagree. I don't think it's an all-in just because he's going to probably mix in some farms soon. I love look at the micro from Samanguru here. Samanguru will not let these scouts die. This is against Burmese Spearmen with extra attack. So second TC, third TC, we'll probably see some farms. But what do you think about Semenguru's approach so far? Obviously killed the Vil, but he hasn't clicked up yet to the next stage, and there's quite a big difference in the fast castle times here.
Yeah, I'm a bit surprised. I mean, he should have a good economy when he will reach Castle Age because he will have a good amount of farms, but he will for sure be behind on the Ville number because at the end of the day, I think I thought that Vasco da Gama approach was all in because like he didn't have any farms, but looks like his farming transition gonna be really good actually, gonna really smooth. So well played Vasco da Gama. He played really well because it's not easy, right? When you are into balls only to go into only farms, the transition is actually really hard. So he did really well there.
Remember, no relics in the middle here. So I think like on a map like this, if there was relics in the middle, it would change the approach entirely. We'd see people make the monasteries. We would see like a siege monk push start. But when you're in the middle, you don't have the relics accessible. You do have some wood in there, and then you have the gold. I think fast casting with the Burmese feels very nice on paper, right? Because you're getting the resources, you're getting the wood upgrade for free instantly. So res collected should look really nice here for Vasco. Still hasn't killed the two scouts that are in his base. And we see Sumanguru going for what looks to be a forward archer range, which is not something I was expecting here. He wants to maybe pressure the outside, which isn't the surprise to me, but it's the walking forward with villagers that is the surprise.
I mean, forward range, you don't see that every day, actually. That's surprising.
Especially if he wants to go something like cav archers. I feel like going forward range is a little untypical for most. People are usually going to build the ranges at home, so they could switch sides with their archer ranges.
Maybe he realizes
who goes
behind
forward
in
here?
economy? Yeah. Oh, yeah, this range is really... I don't know. It's surprising to me.
It's so funny, but I'm immediately changing my thoughts on Sumanguru being a player just based on the forward archer range. Forward archer range for cav archers, that makes me think more of Vinchester or more a Yo, or even more an ACCM than some of the players that were voted in. People had voted for Jordan. People had voted maybe for Viper. Even like a Barrels. I'm not sure if we'd see forward cav archers. It's going to be second TC and third TC at home for Sumanguru. And he does actually just walk home now with the Vils. So a bit interesting there. Has fallen 20 villagers behind his opponent right now. Vasco is flying economically.
Yeah, the difference is huge. Maybe he's going for this. Maybe he wanted to push at some point, thinking like, oh, I'm behind, so I need to kind of push. And he changed his mind at one point, and he was like, okay, let's make a range.
I just had a thought. Can that TC that Sumanguru just placed be ranged by siege from the middle? I think it can. Like, that cav archer's going to run away there. I'm pretty sure a mangonel can sit on the other side of the trees and hit that TC, which is not what you want. When you're on the outside, you kind of want to be... You want that wood line to protect you, but maybe people are saying no? Maybe I'm wrong. Cav archer gets converted now.
I think it cannot, but it can be for sure very annoying, like on farmers and things like that.
Yeah. Wow, what a crazy eco here for Vasco. And what a great job from Vasco now to just move to the outside and be able to get the relics. The monk getting the conversion was really nice. We are going to see TC number 4 from Sumanguru, but this middle boom right now for Vasco is fantastic. Remember, though, guys, you have to find a way to do damage with all these resources, which means right now you have to go around the outside, which will feel very unnatural. You could, in theory, build a lumber camp and cut through the wood to the opponent, but the opponent should spot that if the opponent is realizing that possibility. We'll probably see lots of outposting and whatnot to see, so players can spot any sneak attacks.
Yeah, I think in this position, Sumanguru should know, right, that he's behind in economy because of the Castle Age timing. And I think, like, maybe he's going CA for the long term as well. It's like, I want some map presence, and CA versus Burmese shouldn't be bad in the late game. And
Yep.
he's like, okay, let's try to distract my opponent a bit, to buy sometimes with my CA, to make it a bit awkward for him, and avoid him from cutting through my base, maybe. Cutting through to my base. Should be maybe his plan, actually. But I think if Vasco go for some monks, and he's going for some monks, like in Imp, you can go for the extra range and just deny every reroll, I think. So
Yeah.
it will be a bit tough for Suman Guru, but we'll see. Maybe we'll manage to keep Vasco out of this base. He needs to,
How
at
do
least.
you what's your comp here with Burmese? Keep in mind Vasco can't take stone unless he leaves his base. So he's not on stone yet at all. What's his army composition if he doesn't have a castle? Does he go like can he just go Halb and Monk maybe?
I don't know. There is CA on the field already, so maybe opening Alb won't be the best opening. If it's Era, actually, it could be a Hussar opening. Look at how much farms he got already.
Yeah.
50
Yeah.
farms already. He's about to click up. Maybe he's thinking like I can go like maybe not Hussar, but maybe Cavalier upgrade because he has a lot of gold on the middle. So maybe he will like open Cavaliers, tries to raid to death his opponent, and maybe why not going into maybe Arambai, killing everything, a big ball of Arambai behind, and like
Well, I
using
mean,
his economic advantage.
when you're this far ahead, in theory, you could kind of do anything. I have an idea. Hussar Onager. You onage the trees because you're so far
Ooh.
ahead, and you just run right through with Hussars and win the game.
That's actually a very good comp. That's an arena composition, but I mean, how do you stop this? As long as Sumanguru doesn't have BBCs, bombard cannon, that's gonna be complicated for him. And if he's late to imp, plus he needs to wait for chemistry, it's at least like
Yep.
4 or 5 minutes plus a bombard cannon to be produced. Like,
Yep.
I think he has like so much time. He can die so fast against the
So
Cavs.
Margugu, here's where I want people to get excited about game theory. So I played like a dozen games on this, right? And watched like a couple dozen more to get it ready for the tournament. It eventually got to the point where what Vasco is about to do was the meta every time. We would see Onager and like skirms or hustlers, whatever, to cut through against a player who never cut through. And then once that becomes the meta, players will actually stonewall behind ahead of time. Like, but right now, I don't think Samanguru knows that this is going to happen. This is so big brain. This is still so fresh to them. And dude, if that Onager cut happens, he is in big trouble. He's got no defense.
Yeah, he's not ready. He's just late. Like he clicked up, but like he's like 2 minutes and a half late, and he's late.
He bought a castle, by the way. He bought that.
Oh, actually, I mean, he has infinite gold on the middle, but still, like it's expensive, right? So
Yep.
And there is a Mangonel already. Oh boy.
Yeah, so it's just one mangonel. So we know the first upgrade for Vasco da Gama here, or Vasco da Gamer, is going to be Onager. So Mangaru's thinking, he can't pressure me through the middle because I have this natural wall of wood. So I'm going to stonewall the outside and keep myself protected. He'll know he's behind economically. He'll know that, you know, that could be difficult for him, but he's got vision on the outside. And overall, I think this is calculated in Saman Guru's mind that he will have the time based on the natural wall of wood. But this is just sick from Vasco. Not only is Vasco going to have Onager, but he's already making trebs. So, like, when Onager cuts through, he can actually walk right into the base with those trebs, start to treb things down. He's going to treb that TC, for example. What a crazy build-up here from Vasco.
Yeah. His boom was actually insane. And now, as I said, he will just try to raid to death with his traps, be annoying, like destroy
Surprise!
some pieces.
Yeah, walks right in, and Sumangaru's like, oh, I didn't think that possibility here. I didn't think anyone would actually go for Onager to cut the trees. That is the Imp TC. I think Sumangaru is going to lose the TC after the Imperial Age upgrade comes in. But, I mean, whatever army was planning on being made here, it might not be here in time for Sumangaru to defend.
And time to panic for Sumango. I mean, he's not ready at all. He doesn't have any army ready. He's like, I don't know. Like, what he can do? He's going for a castle, try to buy sometimes, try to go maybe for his own skirm. That's probably his plan, or going for CA, because guys, keep in mind that Burmese archery range unit are not the best, because you are lacking all the defense upgrade almost. But well, I'm a bit scared that the snowball won't be like will just kill someone go.
Yeah, whatever time Semenguru thought he had, whatever he had calculated for, he did not calculate with the onager cut in mind.
Yeah.
And that onager cut has changed this game. Vasco actually a little late to some upgrades, in all honesty. Like, I mean, the skirms were all he needed, but he's catching up on more upgrades now. He's going to be going Cavalier, and behind this, he's got some relics. I still love how he hasn't gone for any stone. He simply just bought it if he needs to with all the gold in the middle. It's pretty wild stuff we're seeing from Vasco right now.
I mean, he has 50 on gold. That shouldn't be a problem, right? And I actually think he's about to buy another castle. Maybe like a castle coming with this trap push could be insane for Vasco. Could be really good. And now he's adding siege. Oh, it's gonna be elephant. He's taking into elephant. Oh boy, it's gonna be elephant onager. Oh, that's a comp.
Wow. It's expensive. The reason you don't see Elite Battle Elephant that frequently is because it's expensive. But the crazy thing is, the only other player who'd researched Elite Battle Elephant in Hidden Cup 5 so far was actually Semenguru himself when he was playing as the Bengalis on Gold Rush in the first round. So Semenguru will know the strength of that himself. Right now, he needs an answer to those trebs. He doesn't have it. The skirms are always there in front. And Vasco just kind of dancing a little bit as he waits to spam some elephants here on the front. But that castle for Semenguru will go down.
This castle is going down, and then like the path is open to his economy. Like he doesn't have any defensive building left to protect his farmers. So if this CA cannot stop the push, and looks like he won't stop the push.
Wow, what a crazy game. What a display from Vasco. It was just like a 4 or 5 TC boom, bought the castle, but the onager cut was the biggest thing there. Some big brain strategy from Vasco de Gamer, who wins the first game here. A beautiful play there on Hidden Forts. And yet again, another game, because we looked at some of the stats from Vasco's 4-1 victory. Another game where Vasco wins. He didn't actually produce that many units. He just got to the winning position so quickly.
I mean, I think he had a plan in mind. He followed it perfectly. The execution was insanely good, and yeah, GG. He played so well.
Everyone wants to know who these players are. We don't find out for a couple days yet, but let's see who wins this series. Here we are, game 2. Again, Semenguru was able to win with the Italians when he played this in the first round. And he goes for the Italians here to try and tie up this series. And it didn't feel like Semenguru's play was necessarily poor in game number 1, but he was definitely out-strategized. And here it's Italians against Persians. So, Mark Gugu, talk me through the Persian start. We've seen the Italians a bit more, and I can maybe talk about that. But Persians is a little rare. What's your thinking about them on this map?
Yeah, actually, Persian is more rare because many players bans it actually because they think Persian is actually super good. So why Persian is that good, especially these days on Iron map? Because you do start with like extra 50 food, extra 50 wood, plus your TC produce your will faster. So basically, you don't have to make any damage to take the lead economic wise, and that's super cool. Plus, this little extra resources at the early game is insanely cool, especially for hybrid maps. So you can go for the earlier dock, for example, and also you produce your naval army faster on the dock. So on this map especially, having the faster dock, the faster uptime, and having the better dock should be really solid.
Makes sense, yeah. And I think from what I'm seeing from Vasco so far, what we've seen, and now 6 games, I think, from Vasco in Hidden Cup 5, Vasco seems like the type who wants to have this quick early aggression on water, and then is just going to transition nicely into a second and third town center boom. And the Persians are really good with that. They produce villagers so quickly. So, if you think you're going to have a fast start, if you think you can be competitive on water, which you could absolutely do, then I see no reason why you wouldn't pick Persians here. Italians on the other side, They've got the cheaper fishing ships. It's cheaper to go up to each age, which is very nice. I think then in Castle Age, they're kind of generic, but then when you start to get university upgrades, that's cheaper as well. And then
Yeah.
the Genoese crossbow. Really, that's the unit. If you can get to Genoese crossbow here, the Persians will struggle. So Vasco has to make sure that he somehow prevents that. And, interesting opportunity here. And Suman Guru decides to run away because Vasco was being smart and kept his scout around.
Yeah, Genoese crossbowmen are clearly the key in this matchup. That's gonna be the key of this matchup. Like, is Vasco da Gama able to kill early enough Sumanguru? And is Sumanguru able to mass his Genoese crossbow? I feel like if Sumanguru comes to this point to have like 30 Genoese crossbowmen, then it's gonna be really hard for Persian to win this game. So I think
Yep.
you're right. That's the key of this matchup, especially on this map, right? We saw on this map like a lot of big armies fighting on one point, and each player's trying to push forward, like building castle forward and things like that. So I really do think Vasco da Gama needs to get the lead at one point and maybe snowball Sumanguru fast enough so you can destroy every castle Sumanguru makes, and then if you destroy the castle, no Genoese crossbow, and then you are in a good
And
position.
And a very important thing, which players should know, and this is intended about the map, is the stone positions near the starting base is always forward. Always. So if you look at either player's base, their stone is forward. That is a position that is easy to pressure in early Castle Age for either player. So, keep that in mind. If Vasco really wishes to keep his opponent off of Genoese crossbow and off of a castle, we might even see a bit of a siege push in early Castle Age on that area.
Yeah, that could be a cool option actually. And also, Italians does have good monks. Vasco doesn't with Persians, so maybe we could
Mhm.
see like a bit of a monk defense for Sumanguru. But let's focus first into this pawn battle because looks like Vasco da Gama is going for the second dock. Sumanguru should go for the second dock as well. So it looks like Sumanguru wants to fight in despite of the Persians bonus. So we're
Yep.
gonna see a pawn a battle water fight. So that's gonna be cool.
Yeah. It'll be sometimes you'll see like one player go one dock, the other players go two, and then the player who went one dock has some stuff on land. Here, they're both committing towards the same thing here. So expect fires, and then after that, expect some demos. But the extra food that Persians start with and the extra wood has allowed Vasco to get to feudal age a bit faster. And not to mention the TC also works 5% faster, right? And already we got Samanger was going to build a barracks. He kind of canceled the idea there, which is interesting. You got to make sure that you don't build this in a location that Vasco can actually see it if you're Samanger.
Yeah,
And he's walking forward now.
yeah. I think he clearly cancelled it when he saw that Vasco da Gama scout was around. He wants
Yep.
to keep that secret. And Vasco trying to lame the ship under the TC.
He's thinking
Who could
about
it
it.
beat?
He's thinking
Who
about
could
it.
it beat in IT?
It might be Hera confirmed there. The scout is still underneath the TC, but it dies.
Oh,
So, I mean, it was a weak scout. Vasco really getting greedy there. And now the scout is dead. And if the scout is dead, then you can't scout that the opponent's going to go land. So I don't like that decision from Vasco. I think that's a really poor decision to make on a map where scouting is so important.
yeah. It's not only losing the scout; it's losing all the information as well. And at this
Yep.
level, having the information is key because then you can take the right decisions on the right timing, right? And greeding under this TC for two ship feels a bit awkward to me.
Yeah. Now, he did kill the fishy ships right away, and he is dominating water. This early build for Vasco is still very strong. We have demos for Samanguru here. Oh, no, sorry. He was going to make demos, and he canceled them. And Vasco's already making more fishing ships. Now, you should know at this point right now, even though your scout is dead, if you're in Vasco's shoes, you should know my opponent's not making ships. He might be making a barracks. He might be making an archery range. So this is typically where you're going to see the walls go down. The Vasco's slowly walling. But he's really taking his time right now. And like a spearman and an archer and that starting scout could absolutely stop all of that.
Yeah. I think he's taking maybe too much, his time a bit too much actually, because as you said, he should know something is coming. You cannot expect your opponent to lose the water like that, not
Yep.
having anything else prepared, right? So
Look at the
maybe, yeah.
yeah, sorry, and the other thing Simanguru has done, which is kind of what the intention was for the map, is trap,
Oh,
trap. Nope, failed trap, not Viper confirmed. But the deer are being taken with villagers on a mill by Simanguru on the far side of the map as well right now. So he's going for the land pressure. He's taking some deer. It is still cheaper for him to go into the next stage. And then also now he's here with an archer and he's going to deny the barracks. Which if you don't have a barracks, you're not going to be able to make an archer range in defense. Vasco's just running out here with more vills so he can complete this real quickly.
he's trying to fast wall, but still a lot to wall, right? Does he want
Yeah.
to wall everything? Looks like it. Oh, and I just realized Sumanguru is missing the wood upgrade. So Sumanguru
Ooh.
is really all in right now.
Oh, but he's looking for the fish. If he could find those fishing ships, they are clumped up. The barracks goes up, so now a range could happen. There are the demos. They're looking for the fish. They could find 3 of them, and it's going to find
Oh,
2 of them, which is definitely something. He killed another one on the other side, and now the archers are here. Panic time for Vasco, who was very casual about the defense here. But honestly, even though it was late defense, really nice defense nonetheless here from Vasco.
yeah, he really controlled the damage really well, because I can tell you, if it was me, I would lose so many vills in my wood line right now. I would be like, oh no, damn. But Vasco da Gama, maybe there is a reason why he's in the main event and not me, you know? And maybe it's because the damage control is way better for Vasco. And
Yeah.
I have to say it was really clean, because like it's easy to panic in this type of situation. He just dropped some house foundation, managed to quick wall a bit everything until his Kerma on the field.
My thinking, though, is this damage is enough for Smengru. He killed fishing ships. There's only 2 now for Vasco. He's going to kill a villager now with fletching. These units might be through the house here in a second. And this has disrupted Vasco's eco immensely. Keep in mind there's villagers on deer. Now we have another crazy timing and damage control here from Vasco. But still, like, that market might actually be something he wants to build and, I don't know, buy food with. He is off of his berries, which his opponent is not. And the more I look at this, the more I like Sumenguru's position when the goal was to have map control and make it to Castle Age at a similar time of, with Persians here.
Oh, and he's going Archer with Persians? He's not building Skirm in this position? That's a bit surprised. That's a bit of a surprise to me. I think he should build maybe Skirms to try to survive first, and then maybe build Archer for the long term. But
Ooh,
building
this is
Archer
sloppy for
first,
Smenguru.
yeah,
That's really sloppy. Losing the first archer is maybe, expected, but you get surprised by the second as well. Now there's some skirms, which is what you wanted. Both players actually have the same amount of army here, but it does look like Vasco has the armor, and the armor for the skirms especially is going to be very helpful here. And Vasco's going to push this away, and he should be able to stabilize a little bit more now.
yeah. Well played by Vasco. He did lose one vill, or maybe only one, maybe in the process, but that was a great defense by him. And now he should have the lead thanks to the fish. I mean, he does have only 2 fish for now, but he could be able to add some.
What is this Vil doing here? This
don't know,
villager
but
needs to get out of here, man. I don't know what she's doing. She really wants to fight.
she's
Still
chilling.
standing there. Yeah, okay. She's gonna run away now. We'll see if she survives. Markets used. Vasco clicks up first. Well played from Vasco. Villager's still going to be alive for now because the scout has shown up to help. And well, let's see if Samanguru tries any like damage control with this. Nope, just lets her die. Interesting move.
That's, yeah. I don't see Viper letting her die like that. He would try to gate wall, try to buy time, or save her for sure.
Yeah.
Like, he won't let her die like this.
But then look at that micro with the scout kills 2 skirmishers, which is really good. So maybe Sumanguru still obviously high level micro, but maybe not as nerdy with the quick walls. Both players click up here. Res collected is 1,000 more resources for Vasco, who still has
That's
2
huge.
fishing ships. This is going to be a really nice position for Vasco to work from in Castle Age.
And let's see if he's going, like you said, into a potential siege workshop, or maybe one defensive first to be able to push back all these buildings, and then maybe he will send his Mangonel forward. Let's see. Maybe he will go. Maybe he will boom once again, because as we saw, Vasco da Gama in every game in Eden Cup for now has been booming a lot and not making too
Yep.
much army before the final hit.
Yep,
So yeah.
just booms. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it seems like Vasco so far has basically said, "Come break me," right? And there's certain players that come to mind when you think about that, who just go for the eco approach. Those archers there from the Sumangru were going to go through. Had they done so, it might have actually found some damage. But Vasco drops TC number 2, drops TC number 3, and is going to have scouts out on the map for vision and map control. You know, I'm seeing crossbow and bodkin. I gotta say, upgrading crossbow and bodkin when you have 5 archers has got to be one of the worst feelings in the world, especially
Versus
against Persian
Persians,
knights.
right? Yeah,
Yeah,
that doesn't feel too good, especially on this type of maps, because you are kind of far from the opponent right now, and going for crossbowman, a monastery potentially too. I mean, he needs to make a monastery. He needs to realize this.
yep.
And yeah, he's going for crossbowman. At least there is no Persian knight on the field yet, but it's easy for Vasco to add like 1 or 2 knights and deal with this crossbowman. He's making some
Ooh,
skirms as well.
ooh. Okay, so this might be a small thing. Do you see that house behind the tree there? So that is it's kind of a specific thing, but that player clicked the tree and then shift queued for when the tree is gone to build the house in the hole and then go back to another tree. And there's a lot of players who do not prep those houses like that in these instances. Like I, for example, would not pay attention to that, and then I would just keep looking for the hole and build it manually. So, and I know it's like maybe something everyone should do, but that is definitely not something everyone does. Like that to me, there's no doubt for Saman Guru. I don't think someone like Yo necessarily does that. Maybe no MBL, right? And of course, I'm saying players who people already have pretty strong guesses for. So,
And then
but
at one
I don't.
point, you are not shift queuing the houses, and suddenly you have the horn in your ears, and you watch in your wood line 2 nights, and you're like, okay, nice.
Yeah, I don't do it because there's still a time where there's still like 3 seconds where there's a hole. So I would like to believe, like I personally am always like I'm going to notice it, but then of course I don't notice it. So
That's the
yeah, but
classic thing, right?
that's interesting, huh?
Could be Tato, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. I still people voted Jordan after the first round, and I honestly could definitely see this being Jordan, or maybe being Yo. Some people are saying it's very tricky, but I could tell you what, Vasco is just crazy economically, man. Just again, it's
Yeah,
like try and kill me, going for elite skirm now to defend from the crossbows. This economy for Vasco da Gama is unreal.
39 farms versus 16.
Yeah,
Where at the beginning of the castle age, Vasco was a bit ahead, but it was like few vills, few resources collected, and now if you check the race collected, it's like 3k difference almost, like
yeah,
20 vills difference soon, and 42 farms already. I mean, it
yeah,
will click imp in a second or two, and we talked about how important it is for the Persians to do not give too much time for the Italian player to build up his Genoese crossbow mass. And
yep.
with this economy, he should be able to go into this unique unit, this Savar, and he should be able to push forward like non-stop crazy and go for the kill right away.
You know, I wonder if we'll see something like skirms for map control even into a forward castle, right? Like, how much pressure does Vasco want to put on? The type of player Vasco's not a forward castle type of player. I can tell you that much right now. Vasco's more of the defensive castle, expand the eco even more, and then chip away at the opponent with army. So you know, my thinking right now is look out for that, right? If you have skirms and you're only up against crossbows right now, could easily see those skirms moving forward. I actually would like to see are the skirms box formationed, even at this stage. They are box formation, so that's
Yeah.
interesting. there the knight gets deleted. But to prioritize box formation when you're not even really fighting with the skirms could possibly be telling. We had a formation video, but of course, like all the biggest names are boxing with their units.
Except
They are
Leary.
box formationing. Except Leary, interestingly enough, yeah.
So Vasco, because I saw some people be like, Vasco, Alexios, and Jadwiga should be AM vibes. But how do you decide, like, who's Hera, who's Leary? Because, like, if Leary is in a good day, it could definitely looks like Hera. But
Yeah.
this box formation and this little box, like, formation video was actually really helpful, I have to say.
I thought it was really funny when... So I made that video. I played it on stream. I think a lot of players found out about themselves in that. Like, they never thought about it. MBL later that night was playing some random games, and his stream title was, "Guess I have to add a box formation hotkey." And then the next line was, "Don't ask me questions about Hidden Cup." So I think MBL saw that and he's like, "Crap! Oh, damn! I didn't realize." So yeah, it is definitely interesting to see that. And I think people also didn't even know, like, why. Like, look, there's box formation for Semenguru on the crossbows. People didn't know why box formation was being used either, which I hope the video helped with.
Yeah, but I mean, when you are a player and you're playing into Eden Cup, like, you want to win, of course, but like, you want to get into the game as well. You doesn't want to be spot too easily, except for MBL, but otherwise you doesn't want to be spot too easily. So I think they maybe, while there is a lot
Just passing. Just passing. We have a wall from Vasco trying to wall in his monk. His monk is going to go down. He's going to drop the castle there because he's concerned now that the forward castle could be denied, and it could be. We've got a knight on the way. We've got crossbows on the way. We've got a monk with a relic on the way. But Vasco wanted a forward castle Margugu, and this is not going to happen because Sumanguru is here with some pressure right now.
But Vasco is imp already, while Sumanguru didn't click up yet. That's crazy.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. And the knight, there weren't a lot of upgrades here. So this castle will actually complete. A little bit of patience here from Vasco. Doubt confirmed, but now not so confirmed because the castle will end up completing. We have some fire galleys from Sumanguru. The reason that Vasco wanted this castle spot is to the right of our screens there. It's because he sees that castle is there for Sumanguru, and he wants to deny the possibility for his opponent to go for Genoese crossbow.
Something that looks like a detail just happened, but I think could change this game. Sumanguru made the naval army, like made the fire upgrade, took back water, and look at where is Vasco castle. He could go for like bombard cannon of the seas, for bombard cannon ship, and kill this castle actually. And remember that Vasco needs to kill Sumanguru fast. This type of maybe bombard cannon army, bombard cannon ship, could maybe snipe a treb, could maybe buy so much time for Sumanguru. That's the details, but at this level, that could be really... And look at where is the treb, actually.
Yeah, it's close to the shoreline. Well, I guess the downside here for Sumanguru is it's going to take 6 years to take out the docks from the Persians because the Persian docks are still strong. Nice reaction there from Sumanguru. He did convert a Cavalier. I like what Vasco's done. I like how Vasco is obviously going for Trebs, but Vasco is also going for Cavalier. I think he's like, I expect you not to have Genoese. I expect that to be a problem for you. So I have no fear right now. A lot of people would just go Skirms and Trebs, and then they would add in Cavalier once they knew their opponent weren't going to have the Genoese. But in this instance, it seems like Vasco's going to try and spread his wings and fly with these Cavalier, and he's looking for raids. He's still got the Trebs here. And yeah, that castle's going to fall for Sumanguru.
Yeah, and that's not looking good for Sumanguru right now because Italians do not have access to halberdiers, and there is Savar on the way already, so it's going to be tough for Sumanguru.
I mean, can we see why Persians would... How much of this is this is why Persians were banned so much in the main event already? Yeah. And how much of this is Vasco? I think it's a heavy mix of both here.
Yeah. That's...
level's been
his
insane.
boom is insane. Like we saw it
Yeah.
for in the first game too. Like, he's just controlling the economy so well. His macro is insane. And now Suman Guru will be thinking, what did I do wrong this game? And he will be like, well, I don't know. Not looking good. Because when you know you're playing not the best, you could try to think some mistake. But when you think at the end of the game, you're like, I played great and I got destroyed.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not looking too good then.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we've seen the Italians do so well in late game many times. One big thing for Semenguru, and it's probably just because of the pressure that's coming in, but the lack of blacksmith upgrades is really not helping. We had fights where Bracer was delayed. Now we have like Castle Age armor coming out on the Light Cav. Like these Light Cav are going to struggle against some of these skirms even. He is trying though, but Vasco is just not giving him time, dropping another castle, always has the siege prepared. And Savar is now in, and what, there's 16 Genoese crossbow, and they're far from elite. I feel like Vasco, if he wanted to take a fight, could take a fight and kill anything that's out there right now.
Yeah, exactly. He could even dive under the castle. Oh, and actually Sava are kinda out of position. Maybe he will lose some
But
heads.
well, the Savar went into the castle and out the other side, which was a nifty little maneuver there. So it does save one of the Trebs and still has cannons on the other side. 200 pops still for Vasco. The population for Semenguru is not bad. If you remember Semenguru's first series, he was on the back foot as Italians here too, but he calls the GG. And Vasco da Gama so far has just been booming away with economy.
That was once again like not a quick game because it was like a 40-minute game, but at any like we didn't feel that Vasco da Gama was in danger. Like
Yeah.
I like never. He was never in danger. Like even this little feudal push, like when he wins water, most of the people would be like, okay, I need to wall fast because maybe archer are coming. He was chilling. He was like, oh, my wall is not up in time. No problem. I will like quick wall, make some archers, defend, go up a bit faster, develop my economy, expand my economy, just outboom his opponent and just win because of that. Because he outboom his opponent so hard, he has that much timing early in that he can just go for the kill right away.
So let's go game 3. And here we are. And yeah, I just speculated a little bit on if we would possibly see slopes instead. This is a Vasco da Gama home map, but Semenguru won in series 1, round of 16 on this map. So he chooses to try and get a win on the board and also steal a home map away from Vasco. But we saw Ethiopians for the first time, not just in the qualifier, but the main event when Vasco did it on day 1.
Yeah.
He goes for Ethiopians again. What do you think about the Ethiopian pick here, Markugu?
I think Ethiopian is actually really solid on this map. Especially versus Hindustanis, right? Like,
Yeah.
I feel like Smango went for Like, Hindustani is such like a classic pick on this map because most of the time it's like cavalry or CA or conquistadors events. But playing Hindustani versus Ethiopians is not a good news for Sumanguru because keep in mind, guys, that you don't have knights with Hindustanis. You have insanely good camel, right? But how cool are camel versus an archer saves? I'm not so sure, right?
Yeah.
So I really think this matchup could be really good for Vasco da Gama, especially if he plays the way he played the first set versus Pachacuti, right?
Yeah.
So let's see how he plays, but if he plays exactly the same, I'm a bit scared for Sumango on the long run in this matchup at least.
Well, there's just this feeling of Vasco's going to stomp all right now. Like,
Yeah.
there's this feeling. I think if we reversed the Civ matchup right now, everyone would have this feeling of, oh, but Hindustanis have Ghulams, right? We would immediately think to the unit that would stomp the Ethiopians. But because Vasco is controlling the Ethiopians, I'm with you. It's like, okay, well, the Civ doesn't have knights. There's a bit more of a negative spin on it. But, Hindustanis were chosen with the more common civilization picks in mind. We've seen a lot of Franks, for example. We've seen a lot of like Malians, a lot of civs that are going to mix in knights. Hindustani camels can be good there. As a reminder, like this series happened, Sumanguru didn't get to see the round of 16 before. Same with Vasco. So Vasco's getting to use this strat again, this like out of the box surprise strategy for the second time. And this is probably the first time Semenguru has ever seen Ethiopians, ever played against Ethiopians. And as Stats Guy is annoyed with me for bringing it up already, I just got to repeat the fact how cool it is to me that players could practice, prep strategies, but it's not just revealed the second they play around.
Yeah. Will they know for the semi-final potentially? Like
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So come the semifinals, at that point they have seen all the games. The semis will be live, and then it's like, okay, now you know, and now you can play based on what you've seen from your upcoming opponent. But
so Vasco can stop abusing his Ethiopians on slope.
yeah, I
Because
mean,
if
it'll be interesting though. Like, what would you pick to counter Ethiopia? It's like it's such a weird thing, such an unnatural thing on slopes to pick to counter. I feel like no one would really have anything in mind. Maybe you pick more of an archer civ yourself, like maybe Vietnamese to go like archer's skirm or something.
Yeah, or even Byzantine actually. I think, but Byzantine doesn't have a weakness, right? Byzantine is good
Yeah.
versus everything, so that's maybe why it should be decent versus Ethiopians. Both are going up the same time, kind of fast for both actually. And let's see if Vasco da Gama is once again opening. I think it was Archer.
Yes.
Archer, and let's see how Sumanguru will adapt his opening actually, because maybe in most matchup as Hindustani you want to open kinda scout, right? Right? Scout
Mhm.
rush potentially. But I'm not sure about the scout rush versus Ethiopian, right? We saw Pachacuti going for like early rush into a range, I believe.
Yeah.
Let's see. Looks like a scout or a range opening for Sumanguru. We'll see what he's going for, but could be interesting because you don't
On
want
the
to be facing Egyptian archer too early without any defense.
going backwards a little bit, do you remember who you guessed for Pachacuti?
Like at the
Which
my
player?
first guess or at the end of the round 16?
Any. Like, what players were you thinking
Okay.
for Pachacuti?
Right away after Pachacuti set, I said it was Vinch. And
Okay.
after the end of every round of 16, I said it was Bars potentially.
Okay. My thinking was Barles because the two militia play, I'd only seen Ganji and Barles do.
Okay.
Pachacuti looked really solid and obviously didn't get the job done, but still looked really, really solid. But who knows? Obviously, just a small thing to speculate on. Here's going to be archers. And Suman Guru's like, what are you doing here, dude? I haven't seen Ethiopians ever on this map. This seems wild to me. What are you going for? He's going to go for scouts, which is what the plan was originally. And I noticed there, as he went to walk past the range, he actually changed his... hold on. I'm seeing that scout from Vasco flirt with the idea of running underneath the TC here.
He wants
Yeah,
them
he's
so
definitely
badly.
flirting with the idea again. He's trying to steal the goose. Okay, this is Hera confirmed. This is Hera's new thing. Hera confirmed here.
I think someone like
Oh my god! Sumanguru said, how's it taste? How's it feel, bud? Oh my god! Vasco's gonna try it as well. And Sumanguru just eats them ahead of time and says, no, you will not steal them. What a play we just witnessed, Margugu.
It's Hera versus Hera confirmed then?
Yeah, Hera versus Hera. And now there's no food for Vasco da Gama. That was just incredible. Never seen anything quite like that. TCs, they're not always the most accurate, and players have realized that if they could sneak in there with their scout, they could potentially snipe the sheep. And of course, the stakes are huge here, right? Massive prize pools, lots of potential, and both players so good. Now Vasco is not going to have the food income to maybe justify fletching or maybe transition in towards later stages of the game.
Especially that both went for a fast uptime, right? So when you go for a fast uptime, you really need this food on the ship. Otherwise, like you cannot afford farms too fast. So you really need these ships, and losing them for Vasco is actually a huge deal. A huge deal.
Yep. Yeah, because you're gonna have to. You just have to get into the farms a little bit earlier than you were hoping for.
Yeah.
And now there's some skirms coming forward from Samanguru. Samanguru is going to have the answer to any archers, has the answer to the spear. While the farming eco, of course, is getting set up here for Vasco. He might be regretting making Simanguru angry. Look at how angry he looks on the scoreboard there, man. I mean, I wouldn't want to mess with that guy.
Yeah,
My goodness.
I mean, Sumango is a bad boy. You can see it on the scoreboard. He's looking really scary, really angry as well. Like he wants to fight badly. And even the little heroes showdown at the beginning, like before the set, Sumango was doing bad things in his story too. So
He was doing that. He was the villain in the campaign. Yes,
yeah,
this is true.
exactly.
It's funny how, like, a lot of the heroes in Hidden Cup, they all kind of did a lot of bad things, lots of people died because of them. But it's like, what side were they are in the campaign? Because if they were the villain in the campaign, I'm noticing my viewers do not like them very much. Wow, what a moment here. Yeah. I mean, Ethiopian archers are still really strong. Nice snipe there from Vasco. Has to avoid the skirms. But he's adding scouts now, which could push back the skirm. So despite the crazy counter moment there with the geese, I do think that Vasco, once he gets a couple more scouts out, can ultimately push Simanguru away here.
Yeah, and before he lost the geese, he decided to not go for the farm upgrade actually. While Suman is having a really nice economy at home. Like he does have a lot of farms already, both economic upgrade, so his economy should scale really well in the game. While maybe Vasco da Gama's economy might maybe collapse early Castle Age because he will need to reseed most of his farms, so maybe he won't be able to go for like TC's Ballistic or Siege Workshop like he did the previous set versus Patch Acuity. And that's a huge moment.
Oh, big moment. They're both just passing here. I mean, zero hesitation from both of them, which I love. But when will the realization come in that they have missed each other? Because the archers could wreck Sumanguru. But here, I mean, the scouts and the skirms could potentially give Vasco some big problems. The archers are worse to deal with, though, when you got villagers exposed. The skirmishers aren't going to kill villagers as quickly. Vasco should realize now his army is coming towards me. I have to damage control, and I also have to dive. Now, I think Simanguru just thought, oh, crap, he might be coming to my base. So he's going for the full wall, but the archers and the scouts are here, and Vasco da Gama is going to shred this wood line.
Yeah, that's a disaster. And as you said, if you trade base, the archer will just destroy your villas, while the skirm will take so much time to kill everything, so it should be better for Vasco.
Yep, and villagers fight this off. Here, more villagers going down. All the wood lines have to be abandoned. Sumanguru goes down. Oh, man, he's lost 6 villagers now, and he cannot kill villagers as quickly. Sumanguru had the army to deal with the army from Vasco, but he just missed it. And now this is looking incredible for Vasco.
Yeah. That was clearly a mistake from Sumango. I mean, he was a bit unlucky to not meet Vasco's army on the middle of the map. But at the same time, or in the GG call, but I think at this level, you just cannot come back from this.
Yeah, it's too big of a miss. I mean, I really admired the fact that he kept moving forward because I think he assumed that Vasco, especially with how Vasco is played, was just going to sit at home with the archers and the scouts. But Vasco did not do that. And in the end, I mean, moving out from Vasco was an amazing play. And we, of course, had some shenanigans there with the sheep or whatever else. But at this point, it's a 3-0 for Vasco. Only lost 1 game in the first round. And we said this before. It is so difficult to come back 3-0 down at this level. I don't care who you are. I don't care who those names are. You could put who you think is the best player in Sumanguru's shoes and the worst player out of our top 16 in Vasco da Gama's shoes. And honestly, it's going to be really tough to win 4 straight now. And you got to hope that like maybe Simanguru has a little bit of hope left. But that's the other thing too. It's like, how are you going to feel like you can win 4 games in a row now based on how this has gone?
You got to hope Sumanguru is ozone. Otherwise...
Yeah, otherwise it's not going to work. For those that don't know the reference, my co-caster here, should I explain it or is that too mean?
No, you can explain it. I'm past this. That's fine.
Okay, you're past it. Okay, well, there's good people that still don't know what you mean, which is why I asked. So basically, Margugu was up 2-0 in a qualifier and then lost 3-2. So to a player named Ozone. So that's the context. Yeah, let's see what it is. And it's going to be evacuation. Well, technically, there's an island involved. So we were correct. We wondered
Yeah.
what the strategy would be here. Now, the Vasco da Gama played in their first series in Hidden Cup 5, and Vasco da Gama did something right away, which excited me. And he used his starting scout to take a boar from the faraway
Yeah.
lands here. So that's something to keep an eye out for. This is a new map that was introduced with Hidden Cup. I forget if Simanguru did the same using the
No,
boar. He didn't?
no, he didn't. And I'm gonna tell you something. If Sumanguru
Oh,
now lure a boar with his scout, that's just nuke my predictions. Like that's
oh,
not.
it
Don't
nukes your
do that, please.
predictions.
Don't do that because all my theory is dead if he's doing that. Like really, don't do that, Sumanguru.
Okay.
Like please don't, Sumanguru. Vasco da Gama you can, but Sumanguru don't.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, Vasco da Gama also picked Armenians here, which I thought was going to be strong. And Vasco da Gama does the same thing as in the first round. Again, there's only been 2 players I think I've seen do this. And you and I and others have speculated those players must be very close friends. Vasco da Gama using the scout to bring in this boar, part of the same strategy. And so we'll have this boar as well as the 2 rhinos nearby the TC. And that's before we even talk about benefits of the mule cart with the Armenians on the awkward woodlines and how good they are on water.
Yeah. It's
And
it's kind of surprise. The Armenian pick is a surprise, right? I don't know. I think we never saw it yet. We didn't saw it
yeah,
yet on this map. And I mean, with Armenians, you can cook something because it's not duck. It's not going for the duck yet. I mean, it's a bit early, maybe again, but he could cook something with Armenians. Armenians does have access to infantry earlier, like cool wood bonus, access to the mule as well. Maybe he's just going Armenian for the mule, so he's able to move from a little wood line to another on his starting island. Hmm,
ooh,
not sure.
scouts are going to find each other. And Sumanguru is going to see that scout as weak. Now, that might be the first time Sumanguru has ever seen a weak scout at this stage on this map. And that should, in theory, tell him his opponent took the boar with the scout. It's kind of an interesting thing to find. You're like, wait, what? What did he do? And then maybe you should come to the conclusion that he used the boar. Now, Vasco da Gama, to your point on like Armenians being a surprise, Vasco da Gama did 2 things in his first game. His first series when he played this map. He went for galleys on water, and he
Yeah.
went archers on land. And what he did was the galleys killed one on water because he has crazy micro. And then his archers actually went to the mainland area where his opponent was taking wood and gold. So remember, that's not something Sumanguru will know. We know it. We saw the game. We saw the series. I really think if you're going to go galleys, that Armenians is a perfect pick.
Yeah, it could be. It could be a really good pick. And we'll see if he's gonna do the same or not. He's playing versus Lithuanians this time. Lithuanians is a very like has a lot of bonus early. You can go for the dock earlier as well. So Sumanguru should have a really good build order, a really good early economy to potentially pressure a lot Vasco da Gama fish.
Yep.
So maybe the galley play then won't be as good as versus a no bonus sieve, let's say. And I don't remember what sieve was playing Pachacuti versus Vasco. Maybe it was
I don't
Brazilian, something
either.
like that.
I could tell you, hold on. The civilization that his opponent had. Oh, it was Sicilians. It was like the
Oh,
Donjon and the Sergeant play, which honestly, we didn't really have a lot of time to talk about, but that was very unique play from Pachacuti there. So remember, everybody, to please stay humble when you guess. This
yeah.
is the internet. Your guesses are permanent, and we will always remember those that are wrong. Now here's the scout here from Vasco da Gama, and there's the scout from Simanguru. So they're both aware of the expansion that's happening here. Again, curious to see, will we see galleys? Will we see scouts? What's the plan? I mean, it's just so little. Oh, God. Oh, God.
Oh,
Simanguru is going to try and take that board. When the scout is there, that is so risky.
hmm.
And, well, he's going to walk across here. Can't wall on the marsh here, but let's see how this player walls.
Wait, someone
Okay.
someone did that. Was it Giscard doing that with Berbers?
Yes, with Berbers. It was
Oh
the same
no.
thing. It's similar thing with the Palisades like this, just to keep
Can
the boar a bit further away.
can Suman Guru be bars that any train with Kanji?
And
And
they
then Suman
Barl's
Guru is
Ganji?
bars?
Ooh, that's a good guess. Ganji was Robergi's card, and this Samanguru Barls? But then who did Samanguru beat? Samanguru Barls.
Ibitato. Okay, stay humble.
Oh god, Vasco wants his revenge. Vasco's great revenge here. I mean, things to think about. I mean, I think Jordan is a player who also make sure to stay humble, But
Yeah, stay
I
humble.
think that the wall trick there, not necessarily a massive tell for me because I do think a lot of players can do that. But for those that guessed Jordan in the first round for Samanguru, I have seen Jordan do something similar.
That's really
All right,
interesting.
so
In a one,
Margugo,
once
I gotta
again,
talk
yeah.
about this real quick because it's how Vasco sees the map, which I find so fascinating. He clearly thinks you need to wall across the from like your buildings to the edge of this island here to not allow the opponent to access your crossing. And I guarantee you, if he gets an opportunity, he is going to send his archers in the area he's walling on the other side. He's going to send archers there because that's what he did before.
Yeah.
It worked super well for him. It was 2 archers at that time, though he did also have his scout, if I remember.
And he's doing his exact same build order. Exactly the same. Like Galley, Archer, and as you said, he will potentially send his Archer forward. Going through the shallows to reach the main island? Could be, actually. And he's walling all the map. And I actually think this map is pretty wallable. Especially the new island is really wallable. And we didn't see too many people walling that yet. I mean, in Feudal Age, it's maybe a bit tricky because like you need to play water, you need to play the land on the starting island, so it's not easy. But on Castle Age, I could see like a stone wall being really cool, like a forward stone wall maybe could give you a lot of control, map control, and we never say that yet.
Yeah, I mean, Vasco clearly plays very safe. I think we're going to see that. Now, where are the skirms going? Because Vasco is currently, he's unaware his opponent's made skirms. He's definitely unaware that his opponent made skirms from where he built that range. It looks like the skirms are coming home. Now, this is the same thing as the previous game. He finds this. He kills this. This is great. He misses this. This could be horrible, and he misses it. He does have 1 skirm, though. It's Lithuanians. He is pretty speedy. Does Vasco just go passing here, though? Oh, wait. No, it's been spotted. He spotted it. And
it's been spotted, but it's only 1 skirm, though. So it could be a bit of a problem for Sumango. But nice quick wall, actually. Nice quick wall. But Vasco gonna kill the deer. I really like this move. So he will deny this extra food for Sumanguru. That's a nice move. And Vasco could just go back home now.
Yeah.
And he's fully walled. And I really like this.
Not quite fully walled. There are some skirms there. But yeah, I agree. I think walling this, I think how Vasco has played this is perfect. I mean, he's played every game near perfect so far. But seriously, I think it's smart. Look at the confidence here to know that scout is weak. Nice shot from Sumanguru to pull it away to still be able to use it as a scout. And he's still trying to chase down these archers and will end up getting the pickoffs. This should be when the galleys show their hand. It's been a long time since they've been produced, and the galleys now come in and kill the fish.
And
nice
he
job
sniped
there.
all the fish already. Like there is 1 fish remaining for Sumanguru, while Vasco da Gama is literally fish booming. He's booming. Like 2 docks fish production, so his economy gonna fly very soon. He won the water pretty convincingly, and the thing is, he only invested into 3 galley actually. So I'm a bit scared for Sumango because most of the time, like if you win the water but you invested a lot, like you're like, okay, it's fine. Like my opponent can fish boom, but invested a lot, so he kind of invest in something, right? It's just build 3 galley only into fish boom for free, kinda. I'm a bit scared for Sumango.
And we've never really seen this, right? Like this is just so good. I mean, Vasco is making this look like he's unbreakable yet again. It's honestly perfect. You win the water, you threaten on land, but you don't lose that much. Now has scouts out in the field too, so that can help. And Yeah, this has just been perfect. Even the details of killing the deer from the opponent next to the mill was actually an underrated part of what
Yeah.
he did there. And I think, like, I hate to say it, folks, we never want to see a sweep, but this feels like it's inevitable at this point with how good Vasco is playing this.
And like, I don't know for you guys, but if you ask me now, who is Suman Guru? I mean, in the round of 16, when someone is winning, like everyone is like, oh, that has to be a favorite or one of
Yeah,
the top seed guys because he won. But on the second round, you're like, the man I thought was super good just got 4
clapped.
odd. And you're like,
Yeah.
oh, maybe he wasn't playing versus a favorite first round at the end of the day, or versus that good of a player. Even everyone is insanely good in the tournament, but you got me, like, not one of the top seed, not one of the favorite or contenders, maybe
Yep.
one of the dark horses or underdogs. So yeah, hmm.
It could have
That
been
won't be
like
easy.
exactly. It's very easy to look at a player who loses and not think they're a big name, but the reality is with the random seeding that anything could have happened. Again, community voted Jordan for Sumangaru
Yeah.
after the first round. That we'll do a vote after this series concludes as well. We are of course hoping it doesn't conclude. Uh, we're hoping this doesn't conclude soon because Vasco is on the way to Castle Age. Vasco has collected 1,000 more resources. Vasco actually on stone and is thinking about a castle, which I find interesting.
That
Might
could be
see some
interesting, actually.
composite bowman. You know, does that make you think like I know Armenians are new, but
Yeah.
there's not many players I would assume would try and go for a new unique unit here. Like I know a lot of people saying Hera for Vasco. Hera's not really the biggest unique unit player. Definitely not like a new unique unit player. I think more of like maybe like a Yo style for unique units, a Viper style for unique units. I don't know what you
Could,
think about that.
maybe actually there is like the when we are thinking about practice partners, everyone thinks first, okay, Vasco is Hera. So it means Alexios is Leary, and Hart
Yep.
has to be maybe Jadwiga and Otto MBL. But actually, there is like Tato, Viper, and potentially Jordan that could be considered GL style at least for now
Yeah,
because
the
Hera is
same the
GL now.
same the
But
same trio. Yeah,
exactly.
like maybe this
Like,
is yeah.
what about Vasco is like Viper, Alexios is like Tato, and I don't know, like Jadwiga was Jordan. Could be because at the end of the day,
It could be. Yeah, could be. Remember, like we're looking at this right now. A ton of people were saying that maybe Gajamada was actually Hera, right?
yeah.
Let's not forget about Gajamada. We're gonna see Gajamada and Otto in the series later on today. But you know, now that I start to see the unique unit, you're cooking here, Margugu. Definitely making me think. Sumangaru trying to get some damage in. He did kill a villager there. He's going to kill a second one now. The knights that are out there for Vasco failed to deal with this so far. So a little bit sloppy here for Vasco. And the second TC comes up for Sumangaru. And we are going to see villagers walk forward here and
Ooh,
build a
oh,
forward castle? What?
that's that's a castle in the face. I have to say, 20 vills forward too. That's
Now this is again, we're thinking about players that would try this. This is when you have a lead with no army support here. This is extremely risky. Will this castle go up? This could be an opportunity for Smengru to come back. It could also be Vasca finishing off the series. The villagers are fighting it back. And there goes the castle. Now, Sumenguru has enough stone for his own castle. He just needs a place for it.
Sebastian confirmed in the NAC qualifier.
Okay, so we've got a castle from Sumenguru. We obviously have the castle from Vasco. It's going to go up. Villagers are going to die on both sides, but it will be a castle war. Now, fun little fact here is that buildings on cracked terrain take more damage. So these castles will actually go down faster than a normal castle war. And I think Vasco is going to lose his castle. There's going to be rams from Sumangaru. There's going to be some petards as well. So, I mean, there the knights died as well. I mean, it definitely makes me think there is more of a chance for Sumangaru than I expected now.
I actually think Vasco da Gama castle is on the hill too.
Yeah, true. It is on the hill. Yeah.
So it could be a huge difference. But as you said, Sumanguru like has his ram first, so might be able to win this castle fight. And I feel like if Vasco da Gama loses this castle, he can still play the game. But if Sumanguru lose this castle, it's over potentially.
Yeah. That's true. I mean, the economy for Vasco is insane. We were expecting a 20 villager lead, a safe castle. Maybe we get to see the composite bowman, but that's not what happened here. This expansion here for Vasco is still fantastic, which he's done all series. Great eco upgrades. But I mean, tossing away a castle, that castle is going to be gone soon. That's not good. And then the Lithuanian player has a castle to be able to make Latis, which is an incredible unique unit. So definitely like giving Semenguru a chance to breathe here.
Look at the eco though. Vasco da Gama is crazy with the eco. Like in the meanwhile,
seriously.
he went up to 80 economic unit. He has like 7 fish. Is he doing fish trap? Could be like maybe an idea of who could be this hero. Okay, no, he's not. But he still have plenty of fish. Yeah.
Okay, so what do you make as the Armenians against Latis? I guess you make some monks and just defend for a while here.
You also could go for the Halberdiers in Castle Age because you could go for them.
Micro on this archer to kill the monk. I don't think Semenguru's noticing this. Oh my god, Vasco. Oh my god, Vasco. Oh, Vasco snipes the monk with the 2 HP archer. What an amazing detail to notice there from Vasco da Gama. That's just, there's certain levels of nerd that really just reinforce why, I'm not going to be in a hidden cup ever, as much as that dream is there for me too, Margugu. I see that and I'm like, honestly, just sit me down, put a mic in front of my face again, because that right there is just insane.
Did you ever try to qualify for a hidden cup?
Well, no, I can't. It's pretty bad if like the caster takes a spot from the player. I can't go, I can't take the limelight from people. That'd be rude. But
because you think you could take a spot in the main event?
No, I think I could. I think I could have a good run and get destroyed in like the 2nd or 3rd round of the qualifier. But there's no way. There's no way I'm making the main event, dude.
But yeah, I see what you mean. Like even if you, let's say you are round 1, you eliminate someone from round 1, then like it feels bad because then you're like casting and the guy is like, I got eliminated by the caster.
And that is. I did beat somebody once, and then I heard that they posted in Discord, I lost to a caster. I'm retiring now. So. So there is that. But Margugu, you don't have that problem. You 3-0'd me pretty badly, and I still remember it. So
you won versus me on Sokotro actually once.
Oh, I forgot about that. I did win that series. Thank you, Margugu. Yeah. That was when you were playing on the 17-inch laptop, though, right?
Yeah, and I was just vill rushing every game, but
yeah,
a win is a win.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Well, Imp's on the way right now for Vasco. Getting pikemen now. You can actually get Halb and Castlage with Armenians. So we said, what do you do against Latis? Well, that's what you do against Latis. You make Halbs. And the economy for Vasco has just continued to skyrocket here. I do think part of this is the Armenian eco, because the mule cart upgrades are more efficient. So like the wood and the gold income is insane with the Armenians, which is why part of the reason why I think they're banned so frequently.
Look the resources collected difference. That's just, I don't know.
That's wild.
7k difference. 7k is I mean
7k, and it's also 102 vills or 102 eco against 91. Like that's just the eco upgrades. Of course, Vasco's had the vills for a bit longer, but could be a trap here, folks. Could be a trap. We've got the double gate from Vasco. He doesn't want the Latis to escape unless it's on his terms, and he goes for conversions. And now Semenguru, who is already in a bad spot, is even in an even worse spot now, as these Latis cannot escape any longer.
Semenguru is getting flexed on. That's terrible.
Yeah.
I heard Dave saying there is one Age of Empires rule: Mr. Yo never gets flexed on.
Uh, so you think Sumanguru is not Yo
Yeah,
because
yeah,
he's
impossible.
being flexed on here? I disagree. I think Yo's been flexed on a lot. I think the difference is Yo doesn't give a crap. Like Yo just he's like, oh, I just lost 5 lates. It's great because I've made like 10 more and I'm attacking you here. Yo never really, it never really seems to affect his decision making or his game plan.
Okay, can
It's a
see
fun
that too.
statement though. Yeah,
Yeah, it was a really fun one.
that's. Well, we'll see. I still think. I mean, with the community votes, we've never had Yo at the landslide victory. Like Yo has been one of the most hidden players in Hidden Cup so far. The more lates is getting converted now or getting deleted, and more castles dropping. Vasco's going to go Trebs. Vasco's going to go Halbs, and it's going to be really difficult for Smengru to defend because Smengru isn't even in the Imperial Age yet.
Yeah, I mean that's the match point. So he definitely not. He doesn't want to resign now. I
Yep.
can like everyone can understand that. Now, you are playing in Hidden Cup. You are like close to the semi-final or in quarterfinal. So whoever you are, you clearly want to fight until you're clearly dead. And even if it looks bad, that's cool for Sumangu to try at least. That's really cool.
Yep. Yep. Obviously,
And maybe
Trebs are going to come forward now.
Yeah. This one should be good in late game versus Armenians potentially with the tower shields trash unit. But yeah, I mean he won't have time for that.
I'm very curious how good Tower Shields is against the unique unit of the Armenians, though. Like the unique
True.
unit, also it ignores armor, right? So I feel like skirms, in theory, while they do a lot of bonus damage, skirms against Armenians shouldn't actually be that good. And you could also say like Armenians also have 100 HP champions, which I think is also very underrated. Like this Civ is still new, but I think players are still haven't fully figured them out yet. At least they're things other than the Halbs and the Eco. Here we got some trappage here from Sumanguru trying to keep these units out. Nice defense from him, but it's not as
nice.
highlight worthy when you are losing your castles in the meantime.
Yeah, that's for sure. When you are losing and you are doing fancy stuff, it's not as good, right?
Yeah, no one's
Even
like,
if it's
yeah,
insane.
way to go.
Everyone is like, you are really doing that while losing, man? Really? Please focus.
Yeah, defensive castle there from Vasco. That castle's down again. Sumanguru's population's still good. Hasn't lost a lot of pop yet. He's probably thinking, yeah, I this can't be it for me. I had such high hopes here to advance further. And it's match point, so you should fight on until you are absolutely certain you are dead. Getting upgrades now on the skirms, which in theory are good against what we have seen so far, but something tells me we're going to see the Ferreters upgrade here in a second, and it is going to be champions from Vasco to push those skirms.
Yeah, that's going to be 100 HP champion, I believe. That's scary.
Yeah,
and
really
his
strong.
economy is insane. He does have 5 relics behind that in case he's not killing right on the spot right now. He is making sure he win also the later game with the relics. So yeah, he should be in
I
an
think at
amazing
one
spot.
point, Sumanguru tried to eject a monk and accidentally ejected his relics there. Unless that was intentional and he's going to run his relics somewhere, but those 2 relics being outside of his monastery, yeah, I think he's going to try and relocate them. That's probably it. But I mean, that is a non-issue at this point. He actually has gold. The problem is he doesn't have space, and there's the tech we're talking about. So now the infantry gets a lot more HP for Vasco. We have yet to even see the two-handed swordsman upgrade complete. So once the champs come through, man, I think this is really underrated. It might be like how champion with Armenians might actually be one of the most devastating infantry compositions the game has right now.
Yeah, I actually think people like underuse champion in late game. Even if the unit is not the best in general, it's super cheap actually. It's like 15 gold. So it's insanely cheap. And then the unit, when you compare to his cost, is actually really good.
I wonder who wins between like Burmese champs, Armenian champs, or like Armenian champs and like Slavs, for example. I imagine maybe Burmese and Slabs, they still have really good fights because of the bonuses at hand there. But that, again, it's going to be 100 HP. And here comes Vasco to finish off his opponent finally. And Sumanguru played well, won the first round 4-1. Had a lot of people guessing a very big name, but whether or not you want to guess for Vasco, have at it. But I think it's clear Vasco is one of the favorites at Hidden Cup 5.
Yeah.
And this player is going to be really tough to stop.
And that's always the same, right? Like, now people are like, oh, Sumanguru is not that strong, but if you're playing versus like Viper or Hera or Leary or someone like that, like, you could look like a bit weaker than what you really are in this tournament because of who you are playing against, right?
Yep, I agree with you there. And so it'll be interesting once we do the viewer votes here in a moment who people think Sumanguru is. But Vasco, that vote may or may not change from what we had after the first rounds. We do have the elite upgrade coming in for the Bowman here. It feels like Bowman and Champs should be a good comp. And if this is game 1, I think Sumanguru would have called it. This is game would be the final game in Hidden Cup for him after possibly the whole week of preparation, right? And there's still gold. Like, we've seen a lot of people in chats over the years be like, why would someone resign with 2,500 gold, you know? And, well, he's not going to yet, but...
it's looking bad, like...
There is something to bring up. We haven't actually seen a lot of monks from Sumanguru. And so you mentioned like player like Barles, maybe. Barles, he normally makes a few more monks. He doesn't have to, of course. No one has to, but just something I'm thinking about when I think about this player.
Yeah, he could use more monks as well, but I think Barles is really tricky to spot because Barles is really good on every map. Like, there is some player who like, oh, he's more of an Arabia player or an arena player. Barles actually is really good at everything.
Agreed. Like,
really good at everything. So he can use monks, but if he doesn't feel it's the right spot to use them, he will just go for something else. While someone like Genji, for example, who would maybe go way more often towards monks because he knows he's really good with them. I actually think, by the way, that I'm not sure about who is Genji because he didn't use as much monks as he used to in general in the tournament. And at one point I was like, could Genji go for the I don't want to be spot to get the extra reward of it? Could he go for
that? That is true. Yeah, so I'm glad you brought that up because I haven't mentioned it to viewers. We have a $100 award to the player who has guessed the least in Hidden Cup, which is usually a player who's new to Hidden Cup because people don't know as much about them. I mean, you're right. Like, if we saw a player who made a ton of monks and maybe lost round 1, people might have assumed Genji. We didn't really see a player make a ton of monks yet.
Yeah. I mean, Genji is one of the newest player in the top 16.
Yep.
Like, some people could say even like he is super good, but he like his qualifier pass wasn't the hardest, I would say, even if he's insanely good. Don't get me wrong. Like, I don't want to say the opposite, but it's like maybe then, I mean, that's weird because when you are a player, you want to give your best and try to win, but maybe at one point the guy is having fun with the tournament idea and concept, and he's like, you know what? Nobody will guess me. I won't make a single monk, and I will go for this extra $100. Could be actually super fun.
I feel like the extra $100 probably doesn't mean that much when losing first round still nets you 2,000. But yeah, definitely something to think about here. Vasco da Gama with the sweep here, and Sumanguru wishes him good luck next. A crazy performance from Vasco. Cannot say enough good about Vasco da Gama after his 4-1 win in the first round, and now his 4-0 in the quarterfinal. And the theme for me is the economy. Vasco's transitions with the economy is insane. And so far, we haven't actually seen someone be able to match it. Because if we see someone match it at some point, then we get to look at like the units and the fights, which of course play their role. But Vasco has just been able to time the transitions in the economy. And this was a good example of it. First game, lost the villager here, but had a really fast castle, completely different approaches. And what Sumanguru did not expect, Margugu, was the onager cut through the middle. This completely undid his entire plan.
Yeah, clearly he was absolutely surprised about this cut, and he just couldn't, like, he just couldn't react in time. Like it was impossible, and this first push of the game by Vasco was a murder. Like, it was so good. It was so good.
Yeah, and that's the first time we've seen Onager, right? There's been a lot of
Yeah.
first times with Vasco in this tournament, I've noticed. We've seen the first time with the Scout bringing in Boars, first time with Persians being played on Bay. Just very, very solid overall. This was interesting. We had Sumanguru attacking with the archers. And we mentioned if this was us, we would have maybe lost more. But Vasco was able to realize the moment. And even here, even though the castle was going to get denied, ultimately still stuck to the position here and got the castle up. And once Imp was in, Trebs came out of that castle and Sumanguru just fell apart from there.
Yeah, his damage control, his boom, like his his army micromanagement, everything was so clean. I have to say, like
Yep.
I cannot spot a single mistake for Vasco da Gama on this set. Maybe there is some little ones,
Oh, this was it.
but
The mistake from Vasco
oh
da
yeah,
Gama was to try and take the opponent's geese and be a nerd. And then meanwhile, on the other side, Sumanguru did the same thing and he took all of them away. That was Vasco da Gama's weakest moment. And honestly, one of my favorite moments so far of Hidden Cup. But that is soon after pain was coming anyways for Sumanguru, who just missed this army.
that says a lot about how good was Vasco da Gama in this set actually. Like when your
Yeah.
mistake is you try to steal some gears and you fail, I'm like that's a good move for me, you know. When I fail, I'm like I was almost stealing everything. I consider it being a good move, and for him, that's his only mistake. So
Well,
this guy is pretty decent.
Yeah, the other thing I'll say too is like what Vasco did in this game tells me that the work was put in, right?
Yeah.
Because we had not seen players wall like this. And it's the second time now he's been able to just go water and walls and archers. And I think here, like, this was definitely a I'm up 3-0 castle. There's going to be viewers guessing who is who. Let's take a risk type of, like, he was so far ahead. So I'm not sure this necessarily speaks to Vasco's identity, but it did happen. And he wanted to finish off the game fast, but Sumanguru said, not yet, my friend.
Yeah. So Vasco da Gama was super good. Maybe he was feeling comfortable, and he was like, I can afford this type of YOLO castle for the show, you
Yeah.
know? Because we
Yeah.
know, like, these favorite players like to, when they realize they are not playing versus like a top 4-2, they like to have some fun, they like to try things, they like to go for
Yep.
elite turtle ship, they like to go for this type of play. So it could definitely be a top player being like, let's add some spices to this game.
Yeah. That's what that castle felt like to me, was a little bit of extra flavor at the end, and these players are watching right now, guys. So they're like, okay, did it work? Did it work? Did it work? So, give me your thoughts about that series. Obviously, Smedgru won the first round against Jean Bureau. 1-4-1, won fairly convincing. Um, and now got swept. So where's your opinion on Smedgru as a player right now? Is this like it's tricky, right? Is this someone who's like maybe in your mind number 4 or 5 in the world who just got up against number 1, number 2? Or is Sumanguru like, has he gone down in your mind in terms of who you think he is across our scene?
Hmm. I think he played versus someone really strong, so
Yeah.
you kind of don't want to say like, oh, maybe Sumanguru like did an insane great performance round one, and then round two he couldn't make the same because he's not as good, like as
Yeah.
consistent. So I think I won't consider this 4-0 too much because I really think Vasco was Hera or Leary on a good day, or maybe Viper on a good day as well. So playing
Okay.
versus this type of guys being in a good day is like everyone looks like a bit weaker.
Okay.
But at the same time, Sumanguru, I struggled a lot. Like I was like,
Yeah.
Otto is MBL, like Stefan should be doubt, and then little by little you put a name on every hero's name. And at the end I had like Pachakuti and like Sumanguru, and I was like, oh, okay. let's use my tier list for the tiebreaker. No, I don't know. I was like, let's put Tato there, I guess, because he won. He played good, but at the same time, could Tato lose 4-0 to Era? Yes. I could see Tato maybe fighting a bit more, but maybe
Yeah,
Tato was not in his best day while Era was just doing an Era thing. I don't. It's hard to say. It's hard to say, to be honest. And I
yeah,
think we're
it's very
gonna need to
difficult.
watch. We're gonna need to look into maybe the second quarterfinal too, to be like, okay, maybe where is Tato? Like for my prediction, the main question is where is Tato right now? Because keep in mind that I think that Gajamada is Yo. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I am been cooking too much and I need to stay very, very humble. But I think Gajamada is Yo. So then I'm like, where is Tato?
Yeah. What if Tato is Vasco da Gama, Hera is Alexios or Zizka?
Okay.
Like Hera, I could see Hera being Jan Zizka, who had a bit of an off day. I could see Vasco being Tato at his peak. I could see Viper being Vasco at his peak, and then maybe Tato is someone like Khazral. It's possible. So viewers, we're gonna go now to the votes. If you're watching on
Oh,
YouTube or on Twitch, you could vote in the chat on who you think these players are. We're gonna start it all off first with the winner. Okay. Now, if you vote and then change your mind in the last couple seconds, you can always revote. But please type a number in the chat. Good time to once again say thank you, everyone, for being here. We're only going to find out who these players are after the final on Sunday, March 3rd. Obviously, we'll have the final, which should be electric. Vasco right now seems like one of the favorites to get there. And then the big reveal. So please make sure you're there. Please make sure you help us make some history, perhaps on YouTube and Twitch. Thank you, everybody. If you're watching and you happen to have a Twitch Prime, great time as you're voting. Toss that in. We've got lots of work going on with this event. Would mean a lot to have that support come in. Remember, donations, 50% of it goes directly towards the prize pool. Thank you, Teo Tai. Thank you, Mini Plateau. Thank you, TJ, for the most recent donations that went through to the prize pool. But Margugu, we have a whole lot of Hera votes here on this one.
guys, just saying, but don't forget that my theory, maybe that's Fox team right there. Maybe that's Mihai and Sebastian cooking something together, playing really well. I don't see a lot of vote for them. Like, I think Mihai got 0 votes, Sebastian got maybe 1. Ma- Give them some credit, guys. I think they are really good, and maybe they cooked something
Disrespectful.
really good. Yeah, that's disrespectful.
Disrespectful. Come on. We're using your votes for Hera. Who are you? Well, it was like 40% after the first round on Hera, and now it's 70%. So the vote has stayed the same from the community. It is apparently either Hera or a small chance of Viper, which I could see. The doubt votes were those that just, wanted to make some jokes. I'm pretty sure I didn't see a lot of doubt tendencies. Sorry, doubt, from our player there. But what about the loser? This is going to be the toughest one.
That's for sure.
I don't know. They won the first round 4-1. They played solid. Um, I and then people had leaned a little bit more towards Jordan, but I am curious what people are going to say. Right now, I'm seeing a lot of Jordan votes, but I could see Yo. Honestly, I could see a Barles. Um, I
Hmm.
could see a ACCM actually for Simon Guru.
Yeah.
I know you think ACCM is Gajamada. I could definitely see an ACCM there. Maybe Ganji if he had a crazy first round. Maybe
No,
maybe
that's
even Vinch
Nikov.
or Sato.
Nikov think ACCM is Gajamada. Oh,
Yeah,
I
we
told
we
his
weren't
name.
we weren't supposed to say which player said that, Margugu.
Oh, like I,
It's
I
okay.
ruined the Nikov's protection after this ball prediction. I
Well,
mean,
the thing
Nikov deserves
is,
it. He said ACCM won 4-0 versus Tato. I mean, Nikov, at one point, you deserve. Someone needs to say it. You cannot say this type of prediction, man. Like, come on.
I had passed along because I was talking to Nikov, Ozone, like 10 different people at various points last night. And multiple people said if Tato got 4-0'd, that they would quit AoE. So hopefully the Tato didn't get 4-0'd because we're going to lose a couple pro players.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I think Nikov did say publicly to his chat in Spanish that he thought that maybe ACCM was Gajimata, but there's the vote. 42% of people think this is Jordan. So People, we have remained very consistent, which is amazing because this is the same vote, even I think higher percentage as we had in the first round. And I got to commend you. I have to salute you for that. I have to salute you for that consistency. And I cannot wait for that consistency to look even more wrong when Simanguru isn't Jordan. Or if, maybe Vasco da Gama isn't Hera, then suddenly the consistency looks really bad. But, I do think those guesses based on what we saw today, Margugu could make sense. Here's
Oh,
my thinking though. Like, is Vasco da Gama the favorite right now in the entire tournament?
I think yes. I mean, by far he played insanely well round one. He played insanely well round two. Let's see in the semis, but wow, he played really dominant. Also, I saw Nikov in the chat saying, "Margot, I bet you like a restaurant." I'm right. Next Red Bull. How can you be that confident when you're saying ACCM won 4-0 to Tato? I mean, I take the deal. I take the deal every day. I'll
Okay,
pay
so
you a
this is
restaurant if you're right.
okay. So is there like a price limit on this? Like, if you guys go out to eat, are you just buying everything on the menu? Is this one item?
I
What's the
said a
cap?
burger, but I'm ready to bet more than a burger, a whole menu if you wish, Nikov. I'm pretty sure you're wrong, Nikov.
I mean, but Nikov's guess is a lot more specific here. He's guessing it's ACCM to beat Tato. You're just guessing that he's wrong. So I
Okay,
think
okay,
I think to spice it up, you need to guess a specific matchup. You need to guess the same matchup. Tell me that same matchup. Who is Gajimata
okay.
and who's Gregory the Seventh, the player that got 4-0?
Give me a second. I open my spreadsheet. So
Okay.
I think Gajamada was. It's not. I think it. It is. I don't know why I say I think. It's. Gajamada was. Gajamada is, and Gajamada will be. Mister Yo.
Okay.
My grandpa Gregory was Jordan Eoy.
Okay. Interesting. So you think that was Yo against Jordan there, Gajimata versus Gregory. So this would be Yo coming up in the next
Yes.
quarterfinal. Okay, can we come back? Can we come back? Hold on. Let's bring it back. Bring it back. Bring it back. Okay. All right. Here's the deal. I'm in on this bet now. Okay. I'm in on this bet. I hopefully will be at the next event with both of you. And listen, I like a good burger. Okay. You're both
Oh, let's
so
go.
horribly wrong. It's not, it was definitely, Gashimata was definitely Tato. Okay. And I think that Tato, ooh, who did he beat? Is definitely a player who would train with doubt, which means it would have to be Viper or Tato, which it can't be if Tato's Gajimata, or Jordan. I think that Tato, even though earlier in the day I did actually say there's a small world where it actually could have been Viper that lost as Gregory the Seventh, I'm going to say it is Tato that beat Jordan for a burger.
Okay.
All right.
I think
I
I'm
like
gonna
it.
win two burger actually.
I was thinking the same. Wow,
Okay.
you think Yo is Gajimata? I mean, I could see it, guys. I could see it. Some of the
Yeah.
levels been so high. That's what's been fun about this hidden cup is how it's been really hard to guess who is who. And anyways, I hope people are enjoying it. I hope the viewers are having fun. That's the whole point. The games obviously have been really good. This series wasn't so close, which is disappointing, but we're gonna have more action. Margugu, any other like big hot takes? Any other things you want to drop here on the main broadcast before we let you go today? Because you have the floor.
I think I'm done for the hot take for today. I mean, I had some interesting take already. And
Yep,
actually, who is Sito? Someone is asking who is Sito. Actually, could be something
Janjishka.
interesting.
I
It's,
think
in my
Satoshi
opinion,
Janjishka.
I think too. I agree.